Ha! Thought I was frozen, didn't you? Okay. Good morning, everybody. I couldn't come up with a title for today. Someone's like, well, someone did mention yesterday. Well, Tharies, what do you call it, and a bunch of other people are going over old Doctor Who stuff, and I'm like, okay, that's good for them. Why would I go over something I've watched 1,000 times? I'm happy to discuss those things, but why would I want to talk about Dimensions in Time? Dimensions in Time is the Doctor Who. What the Star Wars variety special was, the Star Wars. You remember that, the Star Wars holiday special? Where you can tell, like, Carrie, it just looks like Carrie Fisher's so coked up it's not even funny. They got George, let's see, they got Luke Skywalker, Mark Hamill, with more makeup on him than a Hollywood prostitute. Uh, 20 something minutes of Wookiees speaking their language with no subtitles, and you're supposed to understand what they're saying. That Dimensions in Time. Let's cross Doctor Who over something with like EastEnders. That's a good idea. I'm sorry, but I still watch Dimensions in Time and think, who the hell thought this was going to work? Why did they think this was a good idea? As much as I love to see old companions, doctors getting back together, you know, Dimensions in Time just did not click for me. I'm sorry. Why would I want to discuss it for hours on end? Yeah, sure, but like I said, a lot of you already know the past episodes. If you want to discuss them, hey, I'll discuss them. But yep, it was terrible. Star Wars Holiday Special. Matter of fact, George Lucas was quoted as saying he wished he could find every copy of it and burn it out of existence. Well, that's a paraphrasing, but that's basically what he said. And when you go back and watch this monstrosity, when you're a kid, you don't remember a lot of this shit. You just remember, hey, it's Star Wars. And then, you probably fell asleep, early because it was on probably on a school night or whatever. And then, sure enough, I go back and rewatch this now as an adult, which I did a while back. And I'm like, wow, this was a pile of shit. It's like, oh. Tuesday morning here in the downward spiral of our great Nate world. You've got an Orwellian nightmare across the pond. You got people over here and wackety weird shit going on. Like, oh, I don't know how many hundred people lost their jobs because they couldn't resist the urge to go online and tap dance on a man's grave. And his body wasn't even in the grave yet. I'm like, was that seriously worth losing your job for? Sure, you disagreed with the guy, but he was not out, gassing people. He was not out machine gunning people. He was not ordering the death of millions. He just said a lot of stuff you didn't agree with. And that's exactly the way we've gone. You've got one side of this argument where if you try to bring up, any type of opinion that counters their reality, they'll go crazy on you. And it's just amazing to me, Now, I still enjoy watching Jaws. And, you sit here and think that movie, Jaws, was like, a lot of it was a happy accident. They wanted to show the shark more, but they couldn't keep the damn thing running. And, it turns out in this case, less was more. So, but that's what's scary sometimes about folks out there. If you tell them anything that they don't accept as their reality, it's just they'll go bonkers on you. Oh, which is why I generally just keep to myself anymore. I just, fine then, whatever. The Earth's flat. Okay, keep believing that. Yeah, there's no such thing as Australia. All the people who claim to be Australian are actors. Yeah, right. Yeah, Kylie Minogue is actually some, what do you call it, chick from the Bronx. They taught her cute accents and taught her how to sing. Yeah, right. Oh. It just amazes me some of the things that are still out there. The flat earthers are still around, and it took them how many years, but the government finally admitted, yeah, there's things in the sky we can't explain. It's like, yeah, people have been telling you that for decades, but ugh. It's kind of frightening to me, the world as it is, because, oh, we've had people welcoming the National Guard into their cities because it got that bad. Another crazy thing in this country that happened was you had people running around screaming for a long time, defund the police, all cops are bastards, blah, blah, blah. And then sure enough, things went to shit. And what was the first thing to try to do? Call the police. Well, we don't have any units to send to you. Why? Because we defunded the police. Well, why'd you do a stupid thing like that? Because you wanted it that way and you wouldn't shut up till you got it? It's like, oh. Yeah, I would love to discuss Doctor Who with you and all that, but like I said, we're on hiatus. And like I said, I don't want to, I'll happily discuss past episodes, their impact and stuff like that, but I'm not going to sit here and make entire segments about things that happened decades ago. It's, I'd rather, concentrate on what's going on now until we do get some, some news about what is happening with the show. And it just seems to me like they're using every delaying tactic in the book while they try to, put this mess back together. Well, yeah, now we're waiting until after, the spinoff airs. And I'm like, what the hell does the spinoff have to do, with your main show? And I'm also, like I said, I'm still hesitant about watching War Between the Land and the Sea after what those imbeciles did to Unit in the last series. Because they made Unit a joke. They put Unit in a, it was funny enough when you had Unit in a small, little base on the countryside with a big fat sign saying Unit on the front. But now you've got a Unit tower. A Unit tower that can turn into a massive spinning turret. I thought for a second it was going to convert into like Voltron or some shit. I was like, oh. Oh yeah, and we've got all of our people with secret hidden weapons on their wheelchairs, their Segways, or whatever they're using. Grandpa's cane, yeah, he'll be the new recruit. It's actually like a 12 gauge pump action shotgun. That'll be. It's like, oh. Oh, man. It's Tuesday again, Tuesday, Monday's ugly sister. See, but what else is going on out there in the world? Yeah, I know they closed the asylums. That's what a lot of our homeless population out there in the world, in the United States there's a lot of people out there who need help. They can't process, whatever correctly and all that. I don't want to say mean, evil things, but the sad part is a lot of these homeless people are veterans, people who fought and bled for this country, and we throw them away like garbage. At least back in the Roman times, if you were served in the Legion for a certain amount of time, they gave you a plot of land and you didn't have to pay, basically you didn't have to pay for taxes. You didn't have to pay taxes for the rest of your life, if memory serves. I think they should have done the same thing for our veterans, especially the ones who saw combat. Ugh. Guys, ugh. But it's just a crazy world we live in. All right. The planet Baldus. I think I see a tree growing off in the distance. Yeah, I agree with you. It is 1989 all over again, as much as they don't want to admit it. And as I've said 100 times before in the last few weeks, if the show was so star-spangled, fantastically brilliant, epic, that they would have renewed it already, and there would have been no negotiations or whatever the hell's going on. And as much as I hate to say it, RTD really dropped the ball, especially on the finales. Don't get me wrong, there were some good episodes there, like The Well and whatnot, but still, and I'm dying laughing, as I said, I think the other day, that there's people actually going on, wow, Chibnall didn't suck. Oh. Do you play cricket? I know what a cricket bat is, and that's thanks to Shaun of the Dead. I've never grasped the game. I do know the shortened version of cricket. Rounders was pretty much the basic outline for American baseball, because I had that drilled into my head by somebody who used to be on the podcast. But trust me, if I was at a cricket match, I'd be like, was that good? What? I don't know. They just did something. Does that mean anything? I've seen ghosts. Don't get me started on some of these internet channels now. They're all doing the exact same tropes the TV shows are doing. I've got this piece of equipment that says there's a ghost there. Really? Oh. I got this motion sensor going off. I'm like, dude, I back when I was in electronics, back way like 30, 40 years ago, I built a thermal motion sensor once. It doesn't take, depending on what you crank the gain up to, it doesn't take much to set one of them things off. Someone could blow a fart in the room, probably set one off if you got a good enough sensor. That's why I don't like the motion sensor detection nets and blah, blah, blah. Or they got that damn little voice recorder that is known for making, recording noises that don't exist, because it's something to do with the inner mic mechanism on the thing itself, that digital recorder they've been using. That's all a scam, man. It's just like ghost humpers. You had all those people who came forward who used to be in the show. Ugh. Same thing with Ghost Adventures. Sorry, but when the show starts finding supernatural events every single week for weeks on end, it's like, guys, not everywhere on planet Earth is going to be haunted, okay? Oh. I've seen your kids around town. Mate, watch out. Sorry, but the only kids I had expired on these. The closest thing I ever had to having children, let's just say that they died in tissues or somewhere on my knuckles. No, that's all I'm going to say on that. No, I'm not saying that it's not real. Like I said, I have a very open mind on a lot of things. I'm just saying there's a lot of these shows that are faking results to get, ratings. I do believe there's things going on out there in the world that we can't explain. Maybe, like I said, I've actually done some paranormal research and I've had some weird shit happen. But, to say these shows are capturing every single week, it's like, it's not that, It happens, but it doesn't happen that often. That's what I'm trying to say. A lot of these, internet channels, they're using the same tropes now that the TV shows have been using, and it's just mind-bogglingly crazy. Oh crap! I just hit my time limit. I try to keep it 15 minutes under because I have to get back into, I have to go into work here. So, all I can say, folks, is this: be very, very careful what you're watching. Be very, very careful what you're, taking in. Like I said, I do believe there's things going on out there we're never going to explain. That we don't know everything that's going on in the world around us, and I try to keep an open mind. But remember, be kind, be calm, be safe. We'll catch you all tomorrow. Take care, everybody. And enjoy Tuesday, even though Tuesday still kind of sucks because it's right next door to Monday. All right, have a good one.